on the line.
Tim,
Can
save
they
it.
make a
Freaking
55-yard
kick,
field
Tim.
goal?
Make the kick. I don't want to. Everybody's kissing. Guys,
We're
rookie kicker. They're kissing his ass. You make the 55-yard field goal. Gotta make it.
We're off Cade York.
Hey,
Gotta
look,
make
How
it.
are you?
I
my
played
friend?
with
That's his job.
I played with Phil Dawson. That guy never missed, man. So we
Never.
didn't have any kicker issues. When
Phil,
I
I looked it up yesterday. Phil did miss.
a couple times.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson
More
and
than once.
Justin Tucker barely ever miss, so he better barely ever
They
miss.
both miss. They all miss, Bull. They all miss.
Got to make 90%.
But Tim, we're hitting on something that I think is a really good segue here. I actually talked to Phil a couple years ago, and I said, why are NFL kickers worse than ever? And he kind of laughed at me. He's like, no, they're better than ever.
Yep,
He
we
said,
expect
go back and look my
Yeah.
rookie year. And he said I'd have been cut if my percentage based on today, that kickers today are actually better than ever.
Yep.
It's just outrageous expectations placed on these
It
guys.
should be.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of pressure on those guys, man. You just think it's going to be automatic when they roll out there, and they're kicking at a high level for sure. I remember Phil back in '99 when we came in as rookies. He was just so clutch. Even though he missed a couple field goals that year, when the game was on the line, Phil was always automatic. I don't remember him ever missing an opportunity to win a game. But these guys right now are unbelievable, man. They're kicking the ball much further and much more accurate than I've ever seen.
And just to follow up real quick, and then I'll let someone else go back and look at and he totally convinced me, by the way. By the time we were done talking, he completely flipped my mindset on kicking. Go back and look at the career make percentage of Gary Anderson and Morton Anderson.
Right.
And these guys.
Who we thought were all-time greats.
Were all-time greats. They wouldn't
No.
even make it in the league today based on what we have today.
And Tim, I think you might have brought this stat up. I don't think an opposing team missed a field goal or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't make-
not miss a field goal.
They didn't
All
miss a
year.
field goal
One
all
block.
year against the
There was
Browns.
one that was blocked.
That's crazy.
It is nuts. That's just bad luck, but it
Right,
happens.
that just shows accuracy, you might.
Tim, what's your overall takeaway from preseason game number 2? And after you tell us that, what do you make of the fact that we haven't seen our starting quarterback yet?
Yeah, I think, my overall takeaway was there's a lot of talent on the field, a lot of good young talent. I think, obvious what everyone's talking about is Josh Dobbs and the way he played. That's great to see. You need a backup quarterback in this league, and I think Josh has shown that he can be that guy. I was just impressed with how comfortable he looks in the system already. He looks, he's making the right reads, he's getting rid of the football, making plays with his legs. So he's a valuable guy to have as a backup quarterback, and I think he's proven that so far, completing a high percentage of his throws throughout the preseason, taking care of the football, and he's moving the offense. It looks good out there when he's on the field. So I was impressed with Josh, and just the overall young talent. Like I said, some of these young running backs, some of these defensive players are really showing out in these preseason games. So it's great to see that some of these draft picks are making such an immediate impact for the team.
Hey, Tim, you talk about the backs. We got a glutton of backs now. What you gonna do?
For sure.
I keep telling them you got some chips, even though you're not gonna use them. You got some chips here. I wouldn't be waving people just to be waving them.
Jay and Jason, I'm not sure if they're high or drunk today, but they want to trade Kareem Hunt for some mediocre wide
Nobody
receiver.
said wanted to.
You're taking
Nobody
us out of
said wanted
context.
to.
We can't trade him because you can't get good value for him. It's impossible.
So Tim,
You listen to offers.
so Tim,
That's where they
Tim,
should
Tim,
be right now.
Tim, give me your expertise, Tim. What do you think?
Yeah.
I got a glutton of backs.
I would probably agree with Jay. I think you listen to offers. This guy's he's a good football player. So I don't know. You need help in other areas. Certainly, there's some areas of concern on the team that you want to kind of build up the roster a little bit because you're so stacked at running back. You're probably 3 deep, maybe even 4 right now that you feel comfortable with in the backfield. So. If there's good offers out there, I think you do have to listen. Just to kind of build the team up and strengthen it in other areas.
Agreed. In theory, I agree. If they could get like a top 20, 25 wide receiver for Kareem Hunt, I'd do it.
Right.
That's all
The
we're
problem-
saying.
The problem is
That's
it's
everything we're
impossible.
saying. Yeah.
It's impossible because nobody's trading one of those
If
guys
you don't
for Kareem
try,
Hunt.
you'll never know.
Fine, try, but it can't happen.
And
It's
that's what we're
impossible.
saying. That's
Guys,
exactly what we're
there's
saying.
like 3 teams that need a starting running back, and they're all bad. They're not going to trade a good
The
wide
Baltimore
receiver.
Ravens lost all of their running backs last year before week
let
1.
me,
Yeah,
so
they
let me,
did.
so let me.
Okay, who's the wide receiver you're getting for the Ravens? Nobody.
I
They
don't
don't
know.
have
Who's
any.
Let me
running back is
ask
hurt.
Tim Couch. Hello,
crazy.
Tim. You got enough Kentucky gear. They must keep you laced down there with that gear.
Got to.
Lifetime-
I gotta go to Columbus because I'm not getting the gear like you getting. Every time I turn
when
on the
you're
TV,
all-time
you
great
you
like Tim.
Listen. Ain't no slouch over here.
No, I know. But
All right, so let me say,
Tim rewrote the record book.
Tim,
there.
let me ask you this, bro. Kareem Hunt, if you had to move him, what caliber of player are you moving him for? That's Bull's question. What kind of player would you move
Wide receiver one.
a Kareem Hunt for? And give me a type of name, something that we can equate here, right?
Man, I don't know. I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head, but I'm thinking, you definitely need a playmaker at wide receiver. When I look at the wide receiver group, I'm pretty concerned about that group. What happens if Amari Cooper goes down?
Well,
Where does this team go in the passing game without Amari Cooper? And, who do they turn to as their number one wide receiver? So I think you need to, to obviously – build up that position a little bit, get a little more depth, get another playmaker in there for these quarterbacks to throw the football to. But I can't think of an exact name right now who I would think would be a good even trade for Kareem. But I think he does have some value.
Is it a high level
good.
guy? I mean, how high a level guy? I guess I'm asking, not specifically the person, but how high a level guy? You're not looking for a second
I'm thinking
receiver.
probably you're probably looking at a number 2 wide receiver, I guess. Something like that. Somebody who can come in and you can count on to play right away.
and that's fair. You're talking about a number 2 running back, at least in this system, and for a number 2 wide receiver. And Bull, the reason I don't think anybody here on this panel is advocating get rid of him, move him. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that Andrew Berry has to be looking at the totality of his skill players on offense, and he's saying, wow, I'm loaded here, and I'm
but he's
thin as
known
hell
that for
here.
a while.
Right.
And what you guys are not hearing, because as I'm telling you, because I'm obsessed with rosters and depth charts, and I know this stuff.
Oh,
we're
not.
There is not. Well, you guys can't name one wide. Then
not.
name me a wide receiver.
We're not
if
at all.
If you are, then name me one wide receiver.
Bull.
Name one wide receiver.
Here's what we're going to say.
There is nobody.
No, I can't. And you know why? You're asking me to reverse engineer a trade. I'm
telling you, there's like 3 teams that need a starting running back, and they're all bad teams.
So 29 teams right now have running backs better than Kareem Hunt.
Of course not better, but they're not going to trade a good wide receiver for Kareem Hunt if they have a starting running back.
If you want to get better at wide receiver,
yes,
and you bring Kareem Hunt onto your team, 20 teams are going to do that.
No.
20 teams are going to get better at that position.
20 teams, yes.
Okay.
But they're not,
so
if they have a starter.
Of those 20 teams, not a single one of them has any depth at wide receiver where they can say, we need to get better at running back.
20 teams are not
I hope it happens. Now I hope it happens.
Jay,
I really do.
If Kareem Hunt is better than if some team has a number 15 running back, and Kareem Hunt's number 8, they're not going to give up a good receiver just to get a little better at running back. They're not going to do that.
That team won't.
Would you trade Kareem Hunt for Olave?
They wouldn't do that.
Jimmy Christmas, yes.
That's a question.
Hell yeah, I do that every day and twice on Sunday.
Relax.
That's not going to happen.
Number one, first of all, they've got Alvin Kamara there, who's a great back.
That's the question.
We just trying to find a baseline.
I got to leave.
We just trying to find a baseline.
I'm going to walk out. These guys are out of control.
Bye-bye.
I should leave.
Bye-bye.
Hey, real quick.
I wasn't rooting for it before. I am now.
Tyvis Powell has texted us. He wanted his opinion to be read.
Okay.
He said, why would you trade Hunt for a receiver when you can sign one? Emmanuel Sanders, Deshaun Jackson are still available. That's from
and
Tyvis
Will
Powell.
Fuller. Well, Deshaun Jackson sucks.
Clearly, they've kicked the tires and they've talked about all of those players and they've decided that's not going to change their lives.
I just wanted to give Tyvis his 2 cents in here.
No, it's a very good point, but the Browns need a receiver. They need a good receiver.
Well,
they need a really good receiver.
You got a former number 1 quarterback who's been in the city. Tim knows. Everybody with eyes. Ray Charles can see that he's thin at receiver.
But nobody's trading a top 2 receiver for a running back when they don't need one.
I guarantee you nobody's doing it if the Browns don't pick up the phone and try.
All right, I'm done with this. Tim.
Yeah, please.
Josh Dobbs.
Guy's lost.
It's difficult for me to look at him and say he's ready to be QB2 because he has 17 career attempts. And I'm hung up on the fact that the Steelers knew going into the season that they were going to need a quarterback. And they elected to move on from him and said, we don't need him
They still need
here.
a quarterback, the Steelers.
Yes, and they moved on from Dobbs. How much of that is a flag? We've seen 2 preseason games, and everyone's throwing their arms up and rejoicing. And he's played really well. I don't want to take anything from him, but it's against backups. How much of a flag is it in your eyes that the Steelers knew they were going to need quarterbacks this year? They were starting basically over, and they still elected to move on from him when they know him better than anybody.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. For me, I think it's just, some quarterbacks feel better in different systems. Maybe Josh wasn't performing at this level in Pittsburgh, so they felt that they were able to let him go, and now he just feels better in this system, and he feels more comfortable. So it's just a right time, right place thing for a lot of quarterbacks. I think he feels good about the offense that he's running. They're allowing him to make some plays. But, like you said, it is just preseason football. A lot of quarterbacks look good in the preseason going against backups. But he's doing his job. He's doing what you want to see. He's completing a high percentage of the throws and taking care of the football, and he's running the football well. So you're seeing all the things that you would want to see from a backup quarterback. So I mean, as of right now, from what I've seen, and even going back to college, I watched a lot of Josh Dobbs in college at Tennessee. And the guy was a really good football player in the SEC. So I know he can do it at a high level. I've seen him do it at a high level. I just obviously haven't seen it in the NFL until this year. In this preseason, I hadn't seen him play at all in the NFL until this year. So, but I'm impressed with what I've seen. I think, he's got a really good command of the offense. He looks very comfortable, and he's moving the football when he gets out there, and that's all you can ask for. And he's you can see him he's doing his job and feels good about it.
How much do you want to see Jacoby in week 3 here?
Yeah, I want to see him a lot. I want to see what that looks like. From everything I hear, from the coaches and the players talking about him, everyone is raving about how well he's doing within the offense and how good he looks in practice. But obviously, I want to see that out on the field. So it'll be nice to see him get out there, take some reps, and kind of get an idea of what this offense is going to look like going into week 1.
Tim, let me ask you this question, and we can kind of figure out what's going on with the team and how many players we got and what we should do. I watch other teams, and I know what they are, right? I watch the Tennessee Titans. They run the ball. I watch the 49ers. They're really aggressive. They really are running the ball out of different formations. But when I watch Josh Allen, they run 4 wides, and they're going to throw the ball. They don't even need a running back. They just we're going to do that with the quarterback. What is the Browns' identity offensively? If you watch them with Stefanski, can you tell me kind of what is the philosophy offensively? So that I can know whether or not I do need to emphasize a running back or not, or a receiver.
Right. I think the offensive philosophy, from what I've seen, is they're going to lean on the running game and the offensive line, and they're going to take their shots out of play action. They're going to move the quarterback. They're going to get him out of the pocket. They're going to take those shots off the play action passing game. And but I think it's a run first offense. I really do. And I think that when you got a backfield like Cleveland has, I think it's obviously maybe the best offensive, the best running back group in the league. I think you have to build it around those guys. When Deshaun Watson comes back, will it change a little bit? Yeah, maybe. You got a top 5, 7 or 8 QB in the league probably. So you're going to want to change the offense and kind of evolve it to where it goes around Deshaun if he's healthy and playing at the level we think he can. But as of right, this offense is it's got to go through Chubb and Hunt and all the group of running backs that they have, and rely on that offensive line and just let the quarterbacks make the throws off of play action and take advantage of the defense biting up on that.
Tim, how concerned are you about the return game? That's been a problem for the Browns for a while. It's kind of an under-the-radar part of the team. They went and got Jakeem Grant this offseason, who's a really, really good return guy. He gets hurt. So far, it's been ugly. And with the punts, drives me crazy. These guys jumping back at the last. You got to catch the punt. You can't give up those yards. How big a concern should that area be right now for the Browns?
Yeah, I think from what we've seen so far, it hasn't been good. That's for sure. There's a lot of area to improve in that. So hopefully they can get it together. It's such a huge part of the game, changing field position. Setting the offense up. So hopefully they can get a guy back there who can be a difference maker for them.
Tim, when we watch the preseason today compared to when you played, you're looking for stars and they're just not out there. We were talking about, and Jason brought up Doug Deacon, and I'd actually talked to Doug about that before. Back in the day, they used to play 6 preseason games, and these guys played. I mean, they weren't there to watch. What do you make of the sort of transition in philosophy to where we are now, where very rarely do you see the ones, and I know that over the weekend, some teams played their ones a little bit. I was kind of surprised to see Mahomes play as much as he did, but Andy Reid does that. Is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? And what do you make of the change in philosophy?
Well, I think it all goes down to how much these starters are making so much money now, and you rely so much on these guys. You just don't want to see someone go down in a preseason game and have a season-end injury. So you got to take care of these guys a little bit and save them for the regular season. It's such a physical game that you don't want them out there taking unnecessary hits right now. But there's also that balance of you got to get guys ready to play, and coming into week 1 where they feel good and they've got some reps and some game speed. They've taken a few hits, so there's that fine line that every coach's philosophy is a little bit different on how much should I play my starter. How much should I, how many reps does he need? I think it all depends, also on, who these guys are. Are they veterans in the league? Are they younger guys? Do they need more reps? Those kind of things. So there's a lot of moving parts to it that these coaches have to factor in. But it really has changed quite a bit since, even I was in the league. And obviously, going back to Deacon's days when they were playing every snap of every preseason game and doing all that, that was a grind. I can't imagine going through all those preseason games and then playing the regular season. It almost feels like probably playing 2 seasons when you do all that. So just a balancing act with these coaches, I think.
So Tim, we're sitting here now. We're going to the last regular preseason game here this weekend. How much do you think Brissett should be playing in this game?
I would like to see him play at least a half. I think he's a guy that obviously you're going to be counting on him for the first 11 games now. So you got to get some reps. I'd like to see, let's get this offense going. Let's go, kind of game plan a little bit for this next game. Let's put a game plan together, let him go out and execute that. Maybe even get him in a little hurry up, a little 2-minute. I always like to do that as a quarterback, just change the pace a little bit. Just come out and maybe even start the game in a no huddle. Just to kind of get moving, get your mind thinking quickly, get going in the offense and make decisions quickly and getting the football out of your hand. So there's I would love to see a half of football from Jacoby. So we'll see what they end up doing. But I know all Browns fans are anxious to see what it's going to look like with him out there.
So what happens here? I'm devil's advocate now, right? Because I believe in giving him a shot and letting him do his thing. What happens if this thing goes horribly wrong this weekend?
There's not many options right now. With he's going to be your guy. So I think it's just if something goes horribly wrong, it's just back to the drawing board. Just trying to figure out where to go from there. But it's hopefully it doesn't go that way. I try to think positive about it, that he's going to come out and look good and it's going to be clicking. But it's and I'm sure the coaches don't want to think that way right now. So we'll see how it goes and just have to go off what the film looks like and evaluate these guys after the game.
You think they talk behind the scenes?
I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure there are. There's definitely some of that going on, I'm sure.
Nothing changes if he doesn't play well. Nothing. Like, what are you going to do at this point?
Yeah.
It's not going to change the Jimmy G conversation, whether or not they go get him or not. They're not going to base anything off of one preseason game, even if he looks terrible. I don't think.
It's funny. What my perception of if things go horribly wrong was an injury.
I wasn't
off the train.
I was on the performance. I was on the performance side.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're not going to blink on performance because they are who they are at this point.
Turn off the lights.
Right.
McNuggets has a question for you, Tim.
Yeah, Tim, we talk about the joint practices and how teams kind of use those as their quote-unquote preseason now. Do you feel like when you played in the preseason, those snaps actually helped you prepare for the opening week of the year, or were the preseason snaps really just kind of walkthroughs and praying you didn't get hurt?
I thought they helped a little bit. We did some joint practices with the Bills when I was playing. I think we did that a couple times. I know we did one with Indianapolis as well. So those things kind of help a little bit, to get you ready, just to see another defense, another look, because you've been going against your team, your defense for so long in the offseason, throughout OTAs, mini camps, and then training camp. It's good to see, something else out there to make you think a little bit because you understand and know your defense so well at that point. So it's good to see those, new faces. But, yeah, I like the preseason as far as just getting ready. It made me feel like you don't have to go right into week one with no reps. So get out there and move around a little bit, take some hits, and just get used to getting rid of the football. So I like those preseason reps for sure.
Some people are trying to equate that to games. Is there any way you're getting out of a joint workout what you would normally get out of playing even a quarter or a half in a preseason game?
Probably not. No, it's always going to be stepped up a little bit once the games start. These preseason games kind of are what they are. You're not really game planning for these things. You're just kind of out there, calling plays and working on, what you've installed so far, in the offense. So it's definitely a step up, speed wise, physicality once the season starts. So it's just, but it's, it's the progress up to it, the progression up to it where you got to, go from practice speed to the preseason speed and then the regular season speed. So, it's good to kind of get that feel and get ready to go for week one.
What's the game like experience when it gets chippy though?
Yeah, that's there's always going to be some of that, especially these joint practices. You see the highlights of. There's always going to be a fight breakout. Anytime you get two teams together, they're going against each other like that. So you're always going to get some chippiness and some arguing going back and forth. So it's just part of the game, and you kind of go into those practices expecting those kind of things to happen.
I always shake my head when guys start throwing hands. Like, what are you going to hit? You're going to hit something hard with plastic and you're going to break your hand.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. Tim, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. One more preseason game, then a week off, and then we start talking real football. We can't wait for that. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week, man.